Hey guys, it's been about almost a year since my last update, and I wanted to show you what's been going on in the garden here. With two little kids, there aren't too many changes, but hopefully enough to warrant another video here. So I'll start off as usual, going down the list of the trees. This is the Asian pear. In the last update, I had suspected that this big branch coming out here was rootstock, and in fact it was. The fruit that it put on wasn't an Asian pear, it was some sort of deformed looking European pear. But instead of chopping off the entire thick branch, I decided to graft onto it. So I took a few pieces. You can see here's a good graft point where I had put on actually an Asian pear variety. And then I also just experimented by putting on a couple quince varieties as well. I can't, right away tell which ones are the quinces, which ones are the Asian pears, but there's been a good amount of successful grafts on this. And let me see here. This is a quince here, so you can see this one. We'll see what happens. The grafts seem to be growing relatively well, and I hope that, wow, some birds fighting. I hope that we, the wind doesn't break them or anything like that, and that we get some fruit off of the tree. The other side is growing, albeit a little bit slowly. I did a little grafting on the apple tree as well. This is the Fuji apple, but you can see here I've put on some grafts like this one. I don't know if it's coming through in the video. You can see the graft point there, and it's putting on some growth. There's a few more of those. Here's another grafted branch down here. They seem to be, I've been putting on the early season varieties, and they seem to be doing well. Here's an Anna. So I hope that this tree gets over time converted a little bit more into a mix of early and late season varieties. The Fuji itself I wouldn't recommend for our climate. I think it's too late. The Meyer lemon is doing well. We're coming off of the warmest summer in history in Tucson, and for a place in Arizona, that really says something. So some of the stone fruits really struggled through it. The citrus actually seemed to have appreciated it because with the warmest summer, it brought a mild winter. A few weeks ago, this was really covered in blooms. I'm trying to see, there seems to be a few more that are coming through, but yeah, I'm hoping to actually get a decent crop off of the Meyer lemon this year. The Hamlin Arizona sweet orange is doing well. It had a good crop. It was also covered in blooms, and you can see here some of the new crop forming. This was the Caracara orange that I got from Reed. If you remember, it was low to the ground and a little bushy. It's grown a little bit since, and I've trimmed up some of the lower branches. But I want to take this spot to illustrate what I think in every video I try to diagnose what my problem is for my trees not getting bigger, and I think it's the shape of my wells here. I had built up the sides along the bricks to keep the water in, but I think this was a mistake because it it really forces the water towards the center, and it doesn't encourage the roots to expand out. So over time I'll be fixing that and getting to more of the wells like you guys have. I think the videos over the last year have really helped me understand what it's supposed to look like for optimal watering in Arizona. This is the Valencia. It seems to be happy. Compared to last year's, when the citrus may have suffered a lot of winter damage, it got through this winter relatively unscathed. You can see there's still little bit of the old crop left, and then actually I can't tell if it's coming through on the video, but it was also covered in blooms and is putting on the new crop. Here I have a Tangelo. If you're comparing to previous years' videos, there used to be a different Tangelo here. It just stagnated for years, and I took it out of the ground and put it in a pot and replaced it with this full-size rootstock, and I think that'll really help it develop a little bit faster. It might not be as full as some of the other trees that have been in the ground for longer, but it seems to be doing all right, blooming, putting on new leaves, etc. The Moro Blood Orange is also doing well. Comparing it to the previous video, I can tell it's getting bigger, and I think the mild winter certainly helps. The Golden Nugget, it's a little bigger, but again, not quite the explosive growth I've seen other people have. I'm not giving up on it. We'll see what happens. Here, there used to be a different mandarin. This used to be a page mandarin in the spot, and it just for whatever reason didn't do well. I think might have had some sort of disease on the leaves that kept it from really growing, and I replaced it with this Tango mandarin that I had in a pot, and that seems to be a lot happier and growing much better. This is the Nules Clementine. It's maybe 2 years in the ground. Put on a crop last year. The name Nules would suggest that it would have no seeds or low seeds. In fact, it had a lot of seeds, and I don't know what the reason is. So we'll see if that trend continues. This is the Florida Prince I got from Reed maybe a year and a half ago, and it's doing okay. This last summer was really hard on it, actually on a lot of the stone fruits, and now with the spring, you can tell it's putting on at least 6 inches of growth in the last few weeks. There's some fruit on it that I've left, and in fact one that looks like it might be coming ripe pretty soon. It's tiny, but I'll take it just to sample. This is the pomegranate, wonderful pomegranate. Seems to be doing all right. Still don't have any fruit off of it yet, but maybe this is the year. Here is the Garden Annie apricot. This tree is doing well. I love the shape. I love the size. The mild winter actually may have caused it to not set a big crop. I only have maybe 5 to 10 pieces of fruit on it, but I'll it's probably an anomaly in terms of weather for over the last year, so I'm definitely looking forward to better years in the future. This is the 4-in-1 apple. It needs a little bit of work. You can see that the Anna apple side has really taken off and has imbalanced the tree, and it's put on a big crop that I need to thin out in the next couple of days here to keep the branches from breaking. The later season varieties are not doing much. They're just starting to leaf out. This produced fruit last year, and you can see it's really excited about putting on more this year. There used to be an apricot in this place, a Katy, that had died for whatever reason. When I pulled it out, you could tell that it was a bare root tree, and I believe it probably never got established in the pot before the nursery sold it. So once it was in the ground and in the warmest summer ever, it just couldn't do well. So I've now replaced it with another Katy that seems to be pretty happy in this spot. This is a Metley plum they got from Reed a year and a half ago. It, like some of the other ones, struggled through the summer. It seems to be coming back and doing well. I'll have to shape it a little bit. I have this cage around it for shade, and I will get some of the lower branches trimmed up. The big news this year is really on figs. I got into figs quite a bit over the last year or so, and I've taken, and I know this tree looks maybe less full than it did in previous years, and that's because I've done a lot of grafting on it. There's at least 15, maybe even 20 varieties grafted on this one. You can see a graft point here, and it taking, here's another one. This is an I-258. I've got some ones here on the side that are Ronde de Bordeaux. Yeah, lots of grafting, lots of different varieties. I'm super excited about trying all of them. I've had decent success on this tree. Of the, say, 20-ish grafts, most of them took. I think I only had one or two that didn't take for me. So actually, I just want to give a shout out to your friend Natasha. She had really useful videos on grafting, and I used some of her techniques, and they seem to have done well for me. So really appreciate her sharing the expertise. This is the Santa Rosa plum. It's doing well, but still no fruit. I was optimistic last year, yet still nothing. And then finally here, this Black Mission fig. Actually, I had a Black Mission in this place, and I took a cutting from it that actually grew into this tree, and I ended up replacing the mother plant with the cutting because it seemed to be growing a little more vigorously. However, now this year I've done a lot of grafting on this guy as well, and it has not had nearly the success rate as my other fig. I believe the reason is that the tree was pushing a lot of water into the graft unions, which was rotting them out. So I've given it another shot. I'm not too optimistic about those grafts taking, but we'll see. Hopefully the tree will continue to grow this year, and then I can have more grafting done next year. Just looking at my corner of shame here, as I call it, I had a couple dead Italian cypress trees that I've now replaced with a Texas mountain laurel in this area. This bush gets a lot of good reviews in terms of the way it smells in Tucson, so I'm looking forward to getting some flowers on it and having that next year. And then I want to go to the side of the house here as well. So I'll go down the road here. So first up, we have some pepper plants that I've grown from seeds that I will be sharing with friends and family. A lot of my peppers actually overwintered because it was a mild winter, so didn't need all of those. And I have some fig cuttings in various success rates. Actually, probably more dead than survived. Here I have a persimmon, so I'll be looking forward to planting this guy in the ground probably next year. I'm going to give it a year in a pot just to get a little more established. I got it from Stark Brothers. We have some figs. You can see more grafting here. It's really taking nicely. I got a mulberry cutting that I've rooted, and you can see here the start of a dwarf mulberry. I've got a few of the triple crown blackberries. I'm gonna try those. You guys have had good success. Some peppers, actually, as I mentioned, most of my peppers actually ended up making it through the mild winter, so they're getting a good head start into this year. More fig cuttings, a couple strawberries. Here I have a Barbados cherry that I bought online, and I'm hoping to grow it first in pots and then transplant it. A couple figs. Here's the Black Mission I yanked from the corner because it wasn't growing very vigorously. I've again grafted a couple couple of varieties on this one as well. Looking at the pots, some strawberries, some peppers. Here's the Primark Freedom blackberries. They're absolutely loaded. I don't know if you can tell on the video, but there's just a ton of fruit on them, and I'm looking forward to it ripening in the next couple of weeks here. There's already some that are turning color. This is another Primark Freedom. Same story with the fruit load, but check out these new canes. These are really thick and really huge. I had a couple dwarf peaches in this corner. I've added a couple more, so now there's a total of 4 dwarf peaches. For the ones I had last year, I actually ended up realizing that the root flare was buried way deep, so I dug them up and I exposed it. There must have been, I don't know, at least 1.5 to 2 inches of soil on top of it, and I know it may have set it back slightly, but I'm hoping long term it's happier. And then a couple of the citrus I had pulled out, the Page Mandarin and the Tangelo are back there in pots in my rehabilitation corner. I have reset the strawberry patch this year, so I had a number of strawberries that were about 3 years old, and then I ended up just pulling everything out and starting fresh from their runners, and a couple more mulberry cuttings are just rooting out here. The peppers are, as I mentioned, most of them survived, so they're getting a head start into this year. You can see a number of a banana pepper, yeah, so number of things growing very nicely here. In this raised bed, I have the remnants of the winter garden, so some way overgrown carrots that I'll be pulling up, as well as starts of my cantaloupe for the summer. And here's something that was introduced in the last update video, which is the grape trellis. I have the Flame and Thompson vines. Last year I put this together. It wasn't quite done in the last update video. Now you can see it with the wire and the irrigation system, etc. I trained it up to the line, and it seems to be doing really well. You can see there's a lot of fruit set on here. So I'm still learning about grapes, and hopefully these guys do well. I'll tie them up to the top line once the vines grow a little bit more. Just looking lastly at this row, I have a number of figs here. I'll actually be probably looking to sell some of these, so if anybody's interested, let me know if you'd like to buy some of these trees. I've got a number of them that have been grown from cuttings. They're just doing fantastic. Can't pass up the little agaves. I had some Brussels sprouts that I'll be probably closing the season on. A few leeks here, which was just an experiment, and then another pepper. So overall, it's been a good year. I don't get to spend much time out here with 2 little kids, but the time I get is certainly enjoyable. I hope you guys liked this update video, and talk to you soon.